Hey everyone, these are two LEGO City sets that came out around the beginning of the year. On the left is the garbage truck, and on the right is the snow groomer. Funny thing is, these two sell for the same price, but there's roughly a 100% difference in part count between them, or 50% depending upon which way you look at it. The garbage truck is from the 4 Plus sub-theme, what previously would have been known as Juniors, so it's designed to be nice and easy and quick to get a lot of success for kids who are at the age when they've just barely graduated from Duplo, or perhaps they're just in the process of transferring over to the regular LEGO system style, so they get familiar with the smaller pieces and the smaller studs, while still being able to have something that is pretty complete pretty quickly without having a whole lot of little pieces that need to be put together before you have anything that's recognizable. So the entire gray base here is the large truck platform that they've done for the previously Juniors line. It's mostly one piece. The axles come pre-assembled onto it. You just have to put the tires onto the wheels, and then you start attaching things on top of that. And the dump bed back here is one big piece with just a few pieces of detail that you add on to that. Even the ratcheted hinge piece, the darker of the gray color, there is pre-assembled into this, so it's pretty much ready to go. This holds one single figure in the driving compartment there with the steering wheel. There's no roof here to remove, so you're intended to just put a figure in there directly. Just makes it a little bit easier. There's a clip over on this side to allow you to put a figure accessory on the side. One more clip over here for the same thing. This uses only prints, so that's a print, and that's a print there on the front. No stickers for this style of set. And they also, whoops, knocked over the garbage can there, which was stuffed full of garbage. I'll show you that more closely in just a minute, but I want to show you this larger garbage bin first, which is also a simple build, but it's pretty good. It has the wheels on the underside. They give you a bunch of garbage, which includes a handful of regular bricks, plus, interestingly, a single red roller skate for a figure to use. Just one of those. Now, you'll see in the spares for this set that they do include one other. So you can actually put roller skates onto one of your figures if you want. But the nicest thing here, the way this is set up, is that you have this clip on the back. Allows you to bring this up here, maybe pull this down just a little bit, clip that onto the back, and I'm going to lift this up and go ahead and dump the contents into that dump bed. So, you know, it's an open top setup. It basically is a dump truck, but it does work effectively as a garbage truck. And then when you get to the dump, you can actually dump the contents out, and it works. The small garbage can, meanwhile, has these 4 items in it, and you do have to be careful to be able to put all 4 of those in there. They want you to try this, but realistically, I would say just leave one of those things out, especially for a smaller kid. They really need to be just placed perfectly to fit. But the items are a fish, which is silver in color, a bit of a carrot here, not including the top. You got a banana here, which I'm assuming would be eaten. You just kind of have to use your imagination a bit. And then some green cherries in lime green. And then there are 2 figures, one male, one female. They have identical torsos. They are intended to be uniforms, I believe, so that totally makes sense. And the legs are interesting. They have just a subtle difference between them. The guy on the right has medium blue legs, and the lady on the left has medium azure legs. So just a slightly different color there. I don't think I've seen such a subtle difference between the setups of 2 figures previously in a single set. Usually LEGO keeps medium azure and medium blue away from each other because they are so similar, but it's cool to see, and I like both of those colors. I mentioned spare parts, and there are only 2 of them, one of them being that other red roller skate piece, so that you can have one of your garbage people being on roller skates, which totally makes sense to me. I mean, in a Lego world. And then you also get one extra piece of fruit there with the additional green cherries. Moving on to the snow groomer, I have to say right from the start, this feels like a lot of stuff, like something big for its price, for a $20 US suggested retail price. Usually I talk about price and value at towards the end of the video, but it's just something that struck me so strongly with this one. It feels like you get a lot here. Now, a lot of what you do get comes down to those treads, those Caterpillar treads, the tracks on the sides. So, you know, there's not a whole lot that you really get there in terms of building other than just assembling one link to the next, to the next, to the next. But those are valuable pieces, I think, and they provide good value. Uh-oh, there's a piece that's not pushed down all the way. Uh-oh. I think they do provide good value to the set. They do their job very well, actually better than you would expect them to, just looking at them like this, because the set is made with a cheater wheel in the middle. So there is a rubber tire right there, which actually powers the tracks, makes them move when they're actually in contact. So you see it actually powers that center sprocket on either side. So even if you have this on a very hard surface, still, you just push down in the middle a little bit, it's going to get traction and it's going to move all those treads. So that works really well. It's important that they do that, and it's low enough that you don't even see it from the outside. So that's cool. I think the design of this snowcat here is what it's supposed to be. Looks pretty good. The stickers are entirely optional. If you hate stickers, just don't put them on. They really don't add a whole lot, except for this one on the side, provides a little bit of the shaping to the side of the cab there, which is interesting, more interesting than leaving it completely unstickered and just having that being a transparent light blue piece. On the back is a snow cannon, which when this was first announced was a bit controversial. I think it still should be controversial because something like this would not have one of these in real life. Snow cannons in real life are things that are placed on the ground and they have a big water tube connected up to them, big hose, and they just spray out water in a certain pattern that creates snow. They're designed to create snow. This machine obviously is not going to create snow, but you've got the six stud shooter there to fire off some studs if you just want to spread some snow around. You could also imagine that it's set up to be connected to a snow blower system, so as this pushes snow in front of it, you can just imagine. You really have to use your imagination, but you can imagine that it's collecting some and feeding it into the system and then just, blowing it off to the side, kind of like a harvester almost. The blade here on the front can be adjusted. You can make it a little bit wider. You can make it a little bit narrower. It does come all the way down to the ground, so it's actually able to move studs that are on the ground. I don't know if this white on white is going to be particularly visible, but yeah, there you go. Yeah, that works. See, it's close enough that, that is truly getting right down there at the ground to sweep these up. And you can also pull this up. It's on these ratcheted hinge joints, so you can pull it up when you're at the end of a specific run, and yeah, it just feels right. The cabin, meanwhile, is easy to access, just two studs holding the roof on, and there's just a steering wheel down in there, and also a coffee mug, which is very important, makes this much more valuable than not having it in there. And it's really easy, even for someone with adult-sized huge fig hands, to put a figure in. He's centered, which I think is just fine. It just works out just fine. No issues there. And he looks pretty happy. The other figure in the set is a skier, and before I show you these up close, I wanted to show you this with the full equipment all attached. So she comes with a pair of medium azure colored skis. The colors for the torso and the helmet here are the dark azure, so again with the nice interesting colors, and she has a couple of ski poles as well in the dark gray. There they are up close. I believe that is a new torso for the skier on the right with the Extreme logo on it. And yeah, otherwise they're pretty straightforward. You got hoods for each and no alternate faces for either of these hits. This set has a little bit more in the spare parts department, but not very much. The most interesting thing here to me by far is the extra gray ski pole, because that can be used for all sorts of different types of detailing. And they also have a full extra set of 6 more white studs. Here's the 6th one for your 6-stud snow cannon shooter. I think both of these sets are good for their prices and for their suggested age ranges. I personally feel like, even though it's much simpler to assemble, the garbage truck may be a little bit better for what it is, because I think it just provides a great amount of play value and every part of it makes sense. And also garbage trucks in general just seem to be more useful, more ubiquitous as well in real life and for imaginative play in all seasons in more regions of the world. Snow Groomer, I think, is nicely designed, nice big tracks. The blade works well. The only thing that I think isn't such a good decision here is to go with the snow cannon, because I feel like, I mean, what are you going to do with that? You're going to shoot at the skier. That's the main thing. If you just have this set, you have nothing else in life. You just have this. You build it according to the instructions. You're going to use the snow cannon to shoot at the skier just like that. I don't think that's the best use of the parts budget here. I think it may have been better even to have just a small, simple ramp or two, to represent some snow obstacles for the skier to mess around with. But still not a bad value for, the size of the whole thing, even ignoring that. I still think it's pretty good. I have made a major improvement in sound quality for my Pure Build channel, starting with the builds for these two sets, which were done together in the builds as well. So you'll be able to hear proper stereo sound now, which is just higher quality, makes it feel more like you're really there. And I also made a bunch of small improvements to how I process that audio, so if you want to check that out, you can. I will link to it on screen momentarily. But if you prefer the shorter, sped up speed builds, the more traditional style, I've got one of those for you as well over on my regular speed build channel, and I will link to that one as well. Hope you enjoy one of those if you haven't seen them already. I'll talk to you again soon.